Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter via Deckelbus ist die kleine Fahrt im Top. Geht mir kein Sach nicht.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, Judy Gold, and I'm so excited about our show this week and next week. It is my friend Jaye McBride. Today is part one of her interview, and she is just a really wonderful person, really funny comedian, very smart and inspirational. And her story, you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it. She's just a great comic. She's trans, and I don't even want to say that but it's important. And I adore her. So I hope you enjoy part one as much as I enjoyed interviewing her. There's some stuff that's not easy to listen to, so I just want you to know that. Beware if the kids are in the car, which if you have kids and you're listening to my podcast in the car, that's a little, I mean, God bless you. So sit back, relax, enjoy. Ladies, gentlemen, they, thems, everyone, I am so excited. I don't know how much I'll be ringing the Jew bell today, but if I had an LGBTQ bell plus every other fucking letter in every alphabet around the world, I'd be ringing it a lot today. Today, I have a friend of mine. I consider you a friend, Jay.
Thank you.
I wouldn't call you to help me move, but I would call you if I had... I would call you and say, listen, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling that. And Jay is a comedian. She is Irish Catholic.
Right.
She is from upstate New York. She had an abusive father. She is the middle child of 3.
4.
4? Why did I say? Well, you're the second.
Second of 4. Yep.
Second of 4. Currently, she is on the road. Where is she right now?
I am in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah. I read that on your thing. Okay. I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, Jaye McBride's here. And I just want to say, Jay, I used to work in Las Vegas all the time, especially when I lived in LA. I hate it so much. I got to the point where I was working at Bally's. They had a Catch a Rising Star in Bally's. And I found out the way to get to the showroom without walking through the casino because I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, it's like it is. You walk through the casino and you're like, this is why Trump was president, right?
Right.
It's just depressing with the fucking people in their scooters because they're morbidly obese with the cigarette, with the ashes hanging at the end, like just putting fucking nickels in the fucking slot. It's just awful. So the last time I went, I was like, I honestly can't take it anymore. And there was a Chipotle in the Bally's, and I would figured out a way to get there without walking through the casino. I would go to the Chipotle, and then I'd go back to my room. And then I was like, I could literally kill myself here, but I don't want to because everyone kills themselves in Las Vegas. But I got so depressed that I won't work there anymore.
Chipotle is where most bad ideas come from, I think. Like sitting in a Chipotle and that's yeah, you're already questioning your life choices. No, the one so I was here. I was thinking like and half the restaurants are closed. And but someone's like, oh, you know what? But they have an employee dining room, and they gave us this like lanyard so we can go to the employee dining room. So I went there, and I'm cheap enough to think like that's it. I'll eat there all week. So I went there the first time, and it was like this. It was at night. It was like pasta, baked potatoes,
Oh yeah, I've been to the employee dining room. Yeah.
Right. But then I thought, well, you know what? Breakfast will be better. I get there's pasta.
I know, because it's 24 hours a day. Jay, that's so funny, because it just reminds me when I would go to Vegas, and after my father died, my mother would come with me, and we would just do all this fun stuff. We went to Hoover Dam, and we'd take these stupid makeup classes, and we'd go play like $3 blackjack. And I got to go to the employee dining room, and she's like, "Oh, Judith, I'll just go to the employee." And and it was me and my mother sitting in the fucking employee, and they're all in their outfits, miserable. They're just like, "I can't wait to get the fuck out of here." And me and my mother's like, this baked potato is terrific. We'll get some veg. And she was kosher. So it was like, but yeah, it's so depressing and everyone's like, "Oh, it's fun. It's fun." I can't. And then after that shooting there, I was like, you know what? I'm done. So anyway, I haven't done the Comedy Cellar there. Have you?
That's where I'm at now. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's the hotel. I've heard about the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. I
heard
it's the sort of hotel. It's like, I don't want to say it's the sort of hotel where you don't want to walk around barefoot on the carpet.
Yes. But a lot of people will stay in other hotels. But I heard, I have been on the road for so long that I have been in like motels, like Dallas Buyers Club motels, and being a woman on the road, not fucking easy. I can't even imagine being a trans person, a trans woman on the road. It must be even scarier. I mean, I know what it was like in the 80s being, alone, and then walking into, you don't have the condos. We used to fucking walk into these condos. No. I remember one time, I don't know where I was, New Mexico. I don't know where the fuck I was. I walk into a condo. There's a guy sitting at the kitchen table. I don't even know who the fuck he is. And he's moved in because he lives in his car, and he MCs at this club chain and gets to live in the condo. So he's already lives there. Then I go into my room, and then there's another guy coming. He was the headliner. And I'm just like in my room, like shaking in my boots, sharing this fucking condo because, women don't get to work together. We never get to work together. Now we can at certain clubs, but I grew up in a time in the 80s and 90s and 2000, early aughts where women could not work together.
Yeah.
And I've heard you mention that in podcasts too. Like what a boys club this is.
Like a ladies night.
Right.
Tuesday,
yeah.
Everyone gets $50 and it's like,
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like 3 guys on a show is a show and 3 women on a show is like, hysterical.
They're funny too.
Come on, ladies. Come out and laugh.
It's the worst. Comedy condos, everything I hear, it's like you sit in your room like you're like some summer camp in a horror movie where you just
horrible. It's horrible. It's whatever. So all right, let's start at the beginning of your life.
By the way, I might be Jewish. By the way, I might be part Jewish.
What happened?
My aunt. And he did the Jesus pose, right?
Baby. Woo! What happened?
So my aunt took one of those DNA tests, and apparently I am I am like hurt. My mom's side of the family, she's like 40% Eastern European Ashkenazi. So
what?
That
means one of your whose sister is it?
My mom's sister.
So your mom's sister. So that means your mom had a grandparent who, or a parent who was Jewish.
Right. And my great grandmother was actually Czechoslovakian.
Oh my God. My God. So you're Jewish. If your mother's a Jew, then you're a Jew.
Yeah, I think, she was raised Protestant, but
a lot of us had to hide.
Right, exactly.
And we changed our religion just to survive. And people are finding out they were Jews. That's crazy. That's why you're good at math. You were a math major, right? And you had a 3.8 average. Very.
Hair looks like this in the humidity.
Right.
It's like this.
That's great. That's right. You have Jew hair. So Jay, you are from upstate New York. Yes. You are one of 4. You are the second child, as we mentioned. All brothers?
All brothers.
All brothers.
It was like a comedy condo.
Right. Yeah. And you were Irish Catholic. Did you guys go to church or?
Yeah, all the time. I literally was an altar boy. Like, people think I'm joking when I say
Oh
that.
my God. So how was that?
Yeah. I mean, we had our priest, it wasn't like a molesty sort of thing. He was just this guy who like probably should have retired, but because no one wants to be a priest unless they're a pedophile, we had this like 10 years past his retirement date.
Right.
He would just sit on stage. He was partially deaf.
Stage? Is that what you guys call it? We call it the bema.
No, sorry, the altar, and then like.
Oh, all right, yeah.
A little raised up though. There's like a little platform, you know.
Yeah.
You're like with these like soft burps throughout the time. Like, it's almost like you're just sitting there, like not quite awake, not quite asleep, just like
right.
You know, and nonstop. And like, we would die laughing at this. And of course our dad would look at us like, I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of you if you laugh one more time. And he had that look like I am like this close. And yeah, it was good. It was like being a waitress for Jesus.
So you guys went to church every week?
Every week.
You know, I'm really interested in your childhood. Was it before the age of 12, of course, because we know 12 is a turning point in your life. But before the age of 12, was it sort of this idyllic upstate New York with an abusive father? Or was it, you know, was it just like every average sort of family? And was it Albany?
It was further north of Albany. It was a town of about 1,300 people. It was 2 hours north of Albany, so it was really small.
Right.
And it was very small town. It wasn't. I don't know. I wouldn't call it idyllic necessarily, but it was like we had kindergarten through 12th grade in one building.
Yeah.
You know, it was all of us, 26 people in my graduating class, and it was just really small town. And at the time, my family we started out kind of poor, then we were fairly well off, and then we sort of tapered off again after my dad died. But it was. Yeah, I know. Boy, really. So you started out poor and then he got a better job. Is that? Job. He quit drinking, and then at one point we invest in this local grocery store, like this small town market. So our family would run that and they owned it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were doing pretty well. Like, I remember we had a pool and everything, which upstate New York was like, ooh, a pool.
Right. Yeah.
But like, it was one of those things, like the four of us, we'd always like, our dad would want us to play sports all the time. And I was the only one that sucked at everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Shocking. So how old were you when your father stopped drinking?
He stopped around, I think I was probably 8, maybe.
Oh, 8. Okay. So he was a bad drunk and he stops drinking around 8. Does he become like a religious zealot at that point? Like, a lot of people move the addiction to something else, but
he was religious the whole time. He like, I mean, my grandmother, like his mother was like off the
Were
boat.
they close by? Were your grandparents
2 hours away? 2 hours
right.
away.
And your mother, was she really into it too?
I mean, she converted to Christianity or to Catholicism from being a Protestant.
Well, we know now. Bing bong. Yeah.
Right. Second conversion in just a couple generations.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Okay. You're a good student. And so you had small classes. Did you have a lot of friends in the class? Were you like before high school? Were you it was just...
I mean, it's sort of like everyone's sort of, we didn't really have bullies or anything like that.
Right.
All to have bullies. It was weird. And we didn't have cliques because we're too small. So I was sort of friendly with everyone, but I didn't really have a lot of people coming over to my house and having I go over to a lot of people's houses.
Same.
Yeah, nothing like that. But it was fine. For the most, it was just, I mean, obviously the trans things was weird. I remember like I would just try to, when I found out how bad it was, I was like, I need to.
Yeah. So that's what I really want people to understand.
Okay.
Like, that's why, I want to talk to you so badly because, even though you did write an article or a blog for GLAAD about all the, LGBT comedians who came out on stage before you and didn't mention my name. It's fine. It's fine, Margaret Cho. It's fine. Anyway.
That must be the second article. The first article was all about you. And,
shut the fuck up, Jay. Anyway, Jay, I know as a gay, and I've talked about this, ad nauseum, that I knew always. I always knew there was something like, what the fuck is going on? And then I realized what it was as an adolescent. What does it feel like to be a child and, not have the words for, wait, this is not right. This body is not right. What, as a child, what does that feel like? And how do you know? Because this is a phenomenon that I'm so fascinated with. The fact that I knew I was gay, lesbian, but I also knew I couldn't tell anyone that it was unspeakable. And that is something intrinsically, even though no one says to you, don't ever talk about this. So those are, so I wanted to get your take on that.
Yeah. It was the sort of thing like, this is before the internet. I mean, I know I look like I'm 20 and I've always lived with the internet, but
right. Just like you mentioned me in that article.
Right, exactly. But like, it was the sort of thing, like I knew something was wrong, basically. It's weird. It's almost like I was like, I remember when I was really little, I actually thought like, oh, well, at some point I just have to cut off my penis. That's right. That sort of thing, like, or it'll fall off. And then, or so, I mean, but I didn't know what it was. I would just pray to God all the time because I was Catholic. I'll just pray that I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I'm a girl now, that sort of thing. But it was just the sort of thing that like, I would do little things all the time that people would be like, knock it off. And I knew that was wrong. I remember I was holding my books against my chest once and was like, no, girls do it that way. I'm like, so
right.
I would freak out over little stuff like that. I think the first time I saw what being trans was, though, was, it was like 12 or something like that.
Oh yeah, I remember. I heard you. You were watching like one of these fucking stupid, ridiculous show. Was it the Asian tranny hookers show, or was it a different?
It was just something like female impersonators or something.
Yes,
like that. They called them at the time, and yeah, it was on TV, and yeah, and that was like amazing. I was like, oh my god, that's
me. And you looked at that and thought, that's me. That is why I don't think straight people realize how important representation is. How TV is such a, powerful medium. And I remember growing up when there was a Jew on, or a Jewish story or Jewish, my mother's like, Jew, non-Jew, hates Jews, but it was all about representation. And especially for, Black people and people of color, there was nothing. There was, the Jeffersons and, whatchamacallit, I can't think because I'm really, One Day at a Time. And what was the one with the garage? I loved him. Anyway.
One Day at a Time. Wasn't that?
Not One Day at a Time. Good times.
Yeah. Well, you probably had a little easier growing up Jewish because the Jews control the media. So,
Right. We do. We actually do. It's great. And everyone loves us. But, this is why this bill, this Don't Say Gay bill, is destructive, because when you're not something, you're not going to become something, They're not
going to stop showing straight people. Like, how is that?
Right. Of course.
Heterosexuality. If you go by the letter of the law of the bill.
Right.
So like the Berenstain Bears are a straight couple. Like,
right.
Showing that theoretically, right?
Right.
But of course they're going to fucking read that.
Right. Right. Because that's, you realize, and I know this because I know trans people who.
Gross.
I know, it's so disgusting. Who were like, no, I was waiting for my boobs to grow in.
Right.
You're surrounded by men mostly, and your mother, and is there any sort of special relationship with your mother? Do you, I always thought, this is one of my theories, and everyone can call me an asshole, that how when you have a very effeminate male and they really enunciate, and I have always thought that's because they identify with the female parent, and that's how women speak. Were you closer to your mother? Like, how did you get through this? This period up until 12 of you having this fucking secret.
Right. I mean, I did, like, a lot of times I would play hooky from school and like just stay home and go through all my mom's stuff, Yeah. It was like the greatest thing ever. And like, I would definitely I wanted to be close to my mom, but I feel like it was weird. Like my dad was really, I don't know, he was this very conservative, like military guy, very Republican, like sort of thing. So if he saw me being feminine at all, he would like look at it as like, oh, we need to do something about this.
Right, right.
So like whenever, like I would always want to work with my mom at the store. Like we always had to work, like two of us would work at a time. But when he started to see me be more feminine, it's like, no, I'm gonna work with him, and this way we can be more manly and stuff like that, and teach me how to be a man or something. I don't know. So it was more just like this.
Were those sort of quote unquote bonding moments really uncomfortable for you?
They were the worst. They were the worst thing ever. Because like it wasn't even like a loving thing. It was more like I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Right. It was coming from fear, really, just fear.
100%. It was like I was terrified, and there were months he would be just so pissed at me. There were times he wouldn't speak to me for like 2 or 3 months. He wasn't even like at my graduation. He hadn't spoken to me for almost 2 months. He was just there in the audience, and it was just like this. My mom gave me a hug, and then he's just like shook my hand or something, and I'm like, it was weird.
Do you think now that he's gone?
Mm-hmm.
He knew. I'm sure he knew.
Gay. I think he thought I was gay, probably.
Right. He thought you were gay. And do you think I know that he was military, but most people who are really okay with them or comfortable with themselves don't give a shit, Like I had this couple in my audience last night who apparently used to live in my building, and they were there with their son, Nate, and they're straight people in Provincetown, which I always make fun of because, it used to be all gay here, and now we wanted equality. So now they come and do that. So they're at the show, by the way, Jews. And I was like, why are you here in Provincetown? And and then I find out that their daughter is now Max, is now is now male.
Uh-huh.
And I said, and you're okay with that? And they're like, we're okay. And his grandmother is so thrilled. I mean, it's just, that is so important.
Yeah.
And here you have this guy. If you had to psychoanalyze him now, wouldn't you think maybe he had a little homo in him?
A little lift in his step.
Yeah.
A little lilt in his walk. No,
yeah.
I think it was more, he was just this control freak. Like he wanted things a certain way.
Way.
Like, I don't know if it was, I don't know. I think he was depressed. I think for sure.
Oh, probably.
100% he would be right now, or something stronger. But like, that's probably why he was self-medicating all the time.
Right.
And I think it was just this whole, like, almost like he was just very controlling. I remember, like, he made us all play instruments, like musical instruments. And I remember I was in, I think, second grade. We chose what instrument we wanted to start with, or third grade or whatever. And I came home and I said, I want to play the drums. And it was this thing. He was like, no, I think your younger brother Keith is going to be the drum player. You're going to be the saxophonist. So
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So it's like that sort of weird controlling sort of like, I
have decided your path before. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So, I mean, like, because I didn't fit into that, I think it was just this like constant.
Right.
Yeah. And
do you still play the sax?
I did through high school, and I don't want to brag, but I was first saxophone.
Oh, really? I was first chair clarinet. Okay. So we should start a band.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so you're going through life, this is how,
The clarinet is the Jewiest instrument.
I know. My mother was like, Benny Goodman. So, and it sounds Jew. It's very Jew sounding. Anyway, so you're 12 years old. You go to summer camp.
Yes.
And where you are sexually assaulted.
Right.
How long? First of all, it was a sleepaway camp or?
It was actually the same town I was in, but like I was living in the cabins there.
Right.
And just 1 week. I was only there for 1 week.
Okay, so not Jewish. The Jews go away for 7 or 8 weeks in the summer, and the Goyim go for 1 week, and they call it sleepaway camp. Okay, go ahead.
Well, the guy who molested me, one of them was Jewish.
What?
He's a Jew. Yeah. I know.
One of them. Well, so there was a bunch, you're saying?
There were 2 of them. Yeah.
Okay. And are they older than you?
Yes. They're and I found out later he was Jewish. It's not like he wore a yarmulke or anything. But or maybe right. He played the clarinet. That's how I know.
Yeah, shut up. I hate you. Okay, so the 12-year-old. So these are 2 guys who were older than you, and they pick you out, and did this go on, and then they got caught. You had to go to court, right? You had to testify. Is that?
Yeah. How do you know all this? I didn't even remember talking about this. Yeah. It's
okay.
Weird.
Jay, if you ever listen to my podcast, you know that I do intensive research on my guests.
I can tell.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
No, so what happened was it was basically in this cabin. I was the last one to show up because I was only there the last week, and everyone else had been there all summer.
See, the Jews go the whole summer. Okay, go ahead.
The Catholics, so I don't know. But anyway, what they were doing, they were apparently they had been molesting this one kid all summer. Yeah. So
someone in your bunk?
In the same, it was like this cabin with like 6 rooms essentially.
Right.
Those 2 were in it. My friend and this other kid, and they were raping him. It wasn't just molesting; they were raping like pretty much all summer. And like at one point, like the first day I was there, they're like, his name was Johnny, and they're like, hey Johnny, come on in the back room. You know what's up? And so they took him in the back room, and then he comes out. I was like, what was that? He says he said they just fucked my ass, and I was like,
oh God,
what? You know, and that's
right.
Well, I didn't even know. I didn't even.
Right. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about sex at all. And I'm like, really? He wasn't lying. He was like, clearly, like this was not fun for him. You know what I mean? And so I was like, that was weird. And then that night I was in my room. They handcuffed him to like one of the rafters on a chair and just started like molesting with a broomstick. They were just fucking going at it. And it was just, it was fucking intense. And then the next day they took my friend who I knew, he went to the same school, same thing. And then they brought me out, they handcuffed me to him while they're doing this. And like, everyone's like, and they're laughing this whole time. Everyone else is like laughing. And I'm like,
how many people were there?
There were those 2 doing it. And then there were 2 of their friends that were watching. Like it was this great thing, you know?
Right. Fun.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I had no idea what the fuck this is all about. It was like, I knew it wasn't pleasant, and, you know, but they basically, it was like one of those things where they went down the line, and it lasted a week. And afterwards, it was like, you know, and I was thinking like, I guess this is what high school
camp is.
Yeah. I know. I was like, that was summer camp. All right.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th wasn't that bad after all.
Yeah.
Like Jason did only murdered people.
Right.
I don't understand. Yeah. And then I actually, my older brother, the one I don't talk to oddly enough, I said to him, I was like, man, guys are weird. Like how they want to stick broomsticks in everyone in people's asses. And like, he knew there was something up. So he told my parents, you know, and then they immediately went to my friend's house and talked to his parents. And they're like, we all knew what happened. And we all went to the police station that night. And it was just like,
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. So they got the kids.
They did.
All four? The two that watched?
The two that did the actual, the ones who watched, I don't even think they were called to testify, quite honestly.
Wow. And then you went, and where did you testify? Like in a courtroom or in a room?
County courtroom.
And were they there?
Yeah. Like I was in the waiting area. One of them literally sat down across from me in the waiting area. I was there with my parents. So it wasn't like, and I'm just like,
I can't believe your father didn't beat the fucking shit out of the kid. And were the kid's parents there?
I didn't see them, but I'm sure they were. The one of them wasn't out of town, but the Jewish one actually lived in the same town but didn't go to our school. He went to like a private school somewhere.
Oh well, I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
And do you know where they are now?
No, but I don't think anything happened. I think it was one of those like boys will be boys,
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, no, I'm sure they're like, because they were probably like 16, 17 or something like that. I think it was just like, well, we don't want to ruin their lives over one mistake, that sort of shit,
Right.
So, and actually one of them, when I was a junior, I don't think he didn't recognize me, but he was at the, he went, like he was in college at the time. He went to my junior prom with one of the people, like, so I saw him there and I was like, and it was weird because at the time, like now I'm 6 feet tall. So I was actually like, I think like looking at him, I was like, wow, he was so big when I was like,
right.
He's shorter than I am.
Right.
And it was weird. Like, it's like, but I was still terrified. I mean, in hindsight, I wish I would have taken a fucking baseball bat.
Oh yeah. And fucking, did you then get therapy after that or no? So it was so now you are, that you're in the wrong body and your body has been assaulted. So that's great. That sounds like, I can't believe you're a comedian because Okay.
So clearly things are going well.
Yeah. So you attempt suicide. Was it at 12 that you did it?
It wasn't until after college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it was all a confluence of all this shit. Not talking about this. I mean, I unfortunately know a lot of people who have been sexually assaulted because I'm a woman. What do you think that does to your psyche? Especially at such a fucking young age when you're not sexual yet, when you're not.
Right. Well, part of it was there was every once in a while I'll talk about it with someone. Like remember the first time I actually really sat down with my younger brother who I talk to all the time. And I was talking about it and like, I just started tearing up. I didn't realize I wasn't even trying to be like,
right.
It was just a heartfelt, like, those guys who did that,
right.
It was just like, it eats at you. And then there's this like guilt because I feel like I didn't get it as bad as some of
right.
That sort of thing. Like that one kid who was constantly being
right.
raped. I was like part of me felt like, I shouldn't be upset with anything. I didn't get as bad as that guy, which is, that's a Catholic shit or what.
Right.
But no, it was, I was messed up. I'm still kind of messed up.
Duh. Look what you do for a living. We're all fucked up. What the fuck do we do? Yeah.
And I can talk about the darkest shit, but for some reason, I've never talked about that on stage. And I feel like
you know what? You have not been doing comedy that long. Right. 2007 you started or something?
Yeah, 2009.
9. Okay. Yeah. So that is 11, 12, 13 years, which is nothing. You don't even know what you're doing for 15 years, but you'll get to it.
Look where I am. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm in a fucking desert.
No, but it's true. Comics don't know what the fuck they're doing until 10 or 15 years. And then you can sort of, you'll figure it out.
I don't even want what's the point of it's weird to think like, well, maybe I can get 5 minutes out of this. It's like,
I know, but that's how we think. People don't understand that's how comics think. It's like, okay, all right, so those people all died in a plane crash. Okay, let me think, what can I do with that?
What's my think about that?
Yeah.
That no one has done before.
Knowing that I was going to interview you, I watched and read some interviews, and I remember, and I watched Sarah McBride, who is a trans woman, who said that she thought about it all the time.
Suicide? Yeah. Oh yeah.
From forever, every day a day went by and she thought about it, and she said it felt like homesickness.
Okay.
Like she wasn't that pain of not, being homesick.
Well, she had it easy too. She had accepting parents.
Right.
Amateur.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was sort of the thing where I was like, yeah, when I finally transitioned, what got me there, I was thinking like, yeah, I'd attempted suicide twice. At that point I was thinking,
Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
I know.
Well, let me just say, Jay, the world's a better place with you in it.
Oh, well, thank you. But no.
Don't tell anyone I said that.
No, I was thinking like, well, like I could either go through my life hoping to die at some point early, like get in a car crash, or every time I was like on a bus thinking like, man, wouldn't it be great if we just drove off a cliff? Shit like that. And I was thinking like, well, or I mean, is there anything worse than that? Why don't I just at least try to see if I can transition?
Right.
Not be a fucking murdered in the street,
right.
See, at least give myself that opportunity to try it. And so that's why I did it. And of course to transition, you need to go to the therapist like that.
Yeah. You have to go through, but to buy a gun, you don't.
No,
to buy a gun, you don't. You can just go buy the gun. So
I could have done my surgery with a shotgun. It would have been so much easier.
Yeah. Right. Your grandmother had 10 kids, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is a priest or was a priest?
A priest.
Do you speak to that one?
No, he's the worst. Of course. I check on his Facebook page. It'll be like retweeting Tucker Carlson and shit like that.
Oh God. And he's gay.
Oh, he's not. Here's why I know, because he joined the priesthood because out of guilt for paying for his girlfriend's abortion. That's why he joined. Oh. And when he was a priest, he impregnated a married parishioner, and the church, piece of shit. And the church said, all right, well, obviously we can't abort this child, because we're the church, but you can either leave the priesthood and take care of this child, or we'll pay for everything and move you to another parish. So he moved to another parish, and the church is now paying for this kid. And it's just
no fucking way.
Oh yeah. And they have
oh my God, such hypocrites.
They have like a fund for priests to impregnate women too. They have like this giant, like, I don't understand how the Catholic Church still has money with all the raped altar boys.
It's crazy.
Bastard child.
You went to, it's horrible. You went to college. Now, high school, did you go to the prom and everything?
I did.
I didn't go to the prom.
I did go to the prom. It was terrible. I remember I was like working, and someone from the class above me was there, and then a girl walked by and that I knew. Obviously, we all knew it was a small town. And he says, "Oh, she's not bad." I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll ask her." It's the prom, And I got a gray tuxedo My mom thought for the longest time that was a sign that I was trans because I didn't get a black tuxedo.
Oh my God.
I should have known because it was a silver toe.
What color tie?
Red.
And what did you have, like that fluffy poof shirt underneath?
No. It was after that. I think it was red, maybe it was silver tie. I don't know, but I did have a color one. I know.
Oh, nice. Okay. You go to college. You go to SUNY Albany. You study mathematics. Your family, by the way, very into education, very into, sports, and funny. You said your family was funny. I heard you say that, and I was like, well, that's, my family. We didn't hug, but if someone made a clever comment, it was like a hug,
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
You make someone laugh. It was like,
that was like, all right. So.
Well, first I went to Clarkson, which is an engineering school in upstate New York. Yeah.
And then you went to SUNY Albany, and you were going to be an engineer, and then you left.
Then I left. Yeah.
That's like Elisa, my lover. She got into Tufts Engineering. She was there for a semester and then switched majors to economics. And to this day, whenever anything has to be put together or anything, she's like, I got into Tufts Engineering. I'm like, you were there for a fucking semester in 1979. Shut the fuck up and read the goddamn directions.
That's one season. It's like,
right. It's not,
Yeah, but I went to engineering school. I was there for 2 years in Clarkson before I went to transfer to SUNY Albany, and took physics 3 twice. And then I was like, which is nuclear physics. I was like, yeah, this isn't.
Yeah, me too. I took nuclear physics. Not.
I flunked it both times.
So you're in college. You graduate. You transition in 2007, correct?
Yeah.
But prior to that, now, is your father alive during this time? No, your father's dead, so you feel a little freer, right? Your jokes about your dad are fucking hilarious, by the way. The Christmas joke is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite jokes.
Can you say it?
Sure. My dad died around Christmas time, which was tough. I didn't know what to ask for because I already got what I wanted.
That's a fucking great joke. Okay.
So many that I had that were so much worse too.
Right.
Really dark shit too.
Yeah. No, I love them. They're fucking great. So it's 2007 and you're a manager at Borders Books.
Yes.
And they were very nice. And that's when you decided that I have to transition. Now, how do you get to a point where you're just like, I can't do this anymore? How do you, and before, it's how can I ask how old you were in 2007?
Yeah. I was 15 years younger than I am now.
You're such a fucking asshole.
40s, in my 40s. Okay.
You're in your 40s. Okay. You're such like every fucking woman. I'm the only woman who's like, I'm 59, I'm going to be 60. So how do you deal with it? Do you go to gay bars, trans bars? Do you dress up at night? Do you have this other life? How do you deal with who you are?
Yeah. I mean, I really didn't go out to bars. I didn't do anything. I pretty much just, occasionally I would like buy some clothes and I would dress up once in a while. And then that would just make me more depressed. And then I just throw it all away, and then I buy it again. And I think it was, but I was in therapy the whole time. Like I knew I wanted to, but I was just in therapy anyway, just thinking like, all right, well, let's see what happens, the therapy was fun. She eventually got me there. What really did, I went to this, there was like this conference of like trans people, like they had conferences where that was like, and you go there and now when you go, it's like 90% cross dressers, versus trans people, just people who they have no outlet whatsoever to dress up. So This is the only chance they have, and they go there. And I remember it, like I was there and I was thinking like, actually like living like what it would be like if I were trans for like the whole weekend. I was like, I can do this. And then I would also see people who like clearly wanted to transition but can't, so they would just like at the end of the weekend they would just break down in tears and just like it would be the same thing. And like again, it was like what are my options? Am I going to try and kill myself again and get it right, or what am I going to do? And you can't marry someone. There's no way I was going to marry someone and then if transition and say like, why don't you still love me? It's like,
right,
what the fuck don't you think?
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't want kids and bring them down with me too.
Right.
about like what really is the future of my life, to be miserable or to actually try it. So it's
so interesting because I mean there is a parallel with the gays, because I remember when I did when they did the Rosie's family cruise, and it was all these people with kids, get LGBTQ people. Well, there's no Q, LGBT people with kids, and for a lot of them, that week on that ship was the only time they could be out. It's like the way Provincetown was in the 80s and 90s. You know, you would see people for 1 week being able to hold their partner's hand, or and then have to go back to this fucking world of being hidden. And it's just, it's awful.
I mean, my gym teacher was fired for being a lesbian. That's how, like, that's not that long ago. I mean, think about that.
That's crazy. Every fucking female gym teacher is a fucking lesbian. Hello? Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of Kill Me Now with the one and only Jaye McBride, who I know you love as much as I do now that you've heard part 1. Part 2 is, of course, next week, and it's just fascinating. She's great. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling. This podcast and my life would not be possible without the help and love and loyalty of Brittany Jo Sowards, who is married. If you like the show, please don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review. Please tell your friends about it. Please, 5 stars. Please, 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 please. I need to keep doing this because I love it. I love it. But I can't do it unless you guys listen and tell. I mean, I'm not allowed to say guys, but you know what I mean. Listen and tell your friends. Buy my book. Yes, I can say that when they come for the comedians. We're all in trouble. Come see me in Provincetown. I will be back in Provincetown. Let me just tell you about some of the gigs I have coming up, baby, because right now I'm in Eretz Yisrael, also known as Israel. Yeah, Israel. So let's just, I'm going to tell you right now, August 2nd and 3rd, the Art House in Provincetown. I am going to be at the Mansion in Saratoga Springs on August 18th, the Art House, again, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays in August. So if you're on the Cape, or if you're near Saratoga Springs, come see me, because I'm funny. I'm a funny girl. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I really loved this episode. I love next week, and I love you for listening and listening to the end, because if you are listening to the end, you have as much mental illness as I have, okay? Because I'm annoying. I'm already annoying myself. Oh, I will tell you that I did make some delicious swordfish steaks on the grill, and then I took the leftovers and made a swordfish sandwich, and it was so delicious. So if you're hungry, have some swordfish. What else? I hope you have a good week, and it's event-free. What do you say? Uneventful. I hope it's uneventful as far as negativity is concerned, but who the fuck knows with what's going on in this country. I'm going to say something positive. Okay, let me do that. Okay, I can't. So, literally, I love you for listening to the end. I love you for, supporting my podcast. Tune in next week. It's also fantastic. And I love you, period. And as we always say, so long!